Hello friends, today I'm going to explain a movie called Year 10. This movie is about a man's courage to protect he loves. The movie begins with John, a resilient and resourceful man, sitting outside his modest home in the heart of a dense jungle. The house, made of wood and covered in leaves to blend with its surroundings, was his sanctuary. This solitude, however, was about to be shattered. John was enjoying a rare moment of relaxation when an unusual sound caught his attention. It was faint at first but grew louder, unmistakably hostile. When he turned toward the source of the noise, his heart sank. A group of men, armed and menacing, was advancing toward his home. They were known enemies, ruthless invaders who had terrorized the area for years. Springing to his feet, John ran into the house to warn his family. His father, who had been dozing in a corner, stirred awake at the commotion. One look outside confirmed John's fears. The intruders were closing in. The two men moved quickly, gathering what few essentials they could carry. John's wife, gravely ill and weak, struggled to stand. Her feverish body was a testament to the seriousness of her condition, and without her medicines, she might not survive. Realizing they couldn't outrun the attackers with John's wife in such a state, his father devised a desperate plan. Nearby was a concealed pit, filthy and overgrown, yet it offered their only chance to hide. The father lowered John and his wife into the pit, covering it with leaves and debris to mask their presence. "Stay quiet," he whispered, his voice steady despite the situation. Then, with a makeshift rod in hand, he prepared to face the invaders alone. The attackers reached the house, but John's father stood his ground. With remarkable courage, he managed to fend off several men, injuring and even killing a few. But the odds were overwhelmingly against him. The attackers, enraged by his resistance, struck him down mercilessly. Hidden in the pit, John and his wife watched in silent agony as the man who had protected them paid the ultimate price. The invaders ransacked the house, taking everything of value. Among the stolen items was a bag containing the precious medicines John's wife desperately needed. Without them, her infection would worsen. To add to their anguish, the attackers desecrated John's father's body, carrying it away as a grotesque trophy. When the attackers finally left, John emerged from the pit, trembling with grief and rage. His once peaceful home was in ruins, his father gone, and his wife's condition deteriorating rapidly. Fever consumed her, and she slipped into unconsciousness. Despite the overwhelming despair, John resolved to act. He rebuilt the damaged hut as best as he could, ensuring his wife had shelter. Leaving water within her reach, he set out into the jungle, determined to retrieve the stolen medicines. The journey was fraught with challenges. Dressed only in a t-shirt and shorts, John shivered as the cold night enveloped the jungle. Hunger and exhaustion gnawed at him, and the relentless terrain tested his endurance. At one point, he collapsed, his strength failing him. As he lay on the cold ground, ready to give up, a flicker of hope appeared in the form of a child darting through the trees. The sight of the child reignited John's determination. He struggled to his feet and followed the boy, who, frightened, ran toward a small hut. John, desperate for help, broke into the dwelling, startling its occupants, an elderly man and the same child. They cowered in fear, but John had no intention of harming them. Spotting some warm clothes, he took what he needed and left silently. Following the attackers' trail, John stumbled upon a horrific sight: his father's skeletal remains. The invaders had stripped the flesh clean, leaving only bones. Overcome with grief, John buried what was left of his father, vowing vengeance. Pressing on, he reached a makeshift camp. Using caution, he searched the area and found a few useful items: a box, a match, a knife, and a whistle. These tools, though basic, could prove invaluable. Climbing a tall tree to scout the attacker's location, he spotted smoke rising in the distance. However, he slipped and fell, injuring his leg. The noise alerted wild dogs, whose barking grew louder as they closed in. John's quick thinking saved him. Gathering wood, he started a fire to keep the dogs at bay. Holding a burning stick as a weapon, he warded off the animals until they retreated. Exhausted, he fell asleep beside the fire, waking at dawn to continue his pursuit. Following a blood-stained trail to a river, John spotted a woman washing a bloody knife. She was one of the attackers. Stealthily, he followed her back to their camp, where he observed her alone. Seizing the opportunity, John confronted her, and a brutal fight ensued. Despite his weakened state, he overpowered her, striking a fatal blow with a large rock. He then searched the camp, finding his stolen bag but discovering the medicines were missing. Suddenly, he heard voices. The other attackers had returned. Acting swiftly, John cleaned the scene to hide evidence of the fight and dragged the woman's body into the jungle. Concealing himself, he watched as the leader of the group noticed something amiss. The leader's suspicions prompted a search, forcing John to stay hidden until nightfall. Under the cover of darkness, John sneaked back into the camp. Spotting a locked box, he deduced it might contain the medicines. Using a stolen key, he unlocked it and retrieved the medicines. However, in his haste, he tripped a bell wire, alerting the attackers. They captured him and tied him up, preparing to cook him alive. Once again, John's resourcefulness saved him. Using the whistle, he lured wild dogs to the camp, causing chaos. In the confusion, he escaped, freeing himself with a hidden knife. As the dogs attacked, John fled, leaving the camp in disarray. The leader, however, was relentless. Injured and pursued, he resorted to sacrificing one of his own men to distract the dogs. This bought him time, but John's resolve remained unshaken. He tracked the leader to a clearing, where they faced off in a final confrontation. The fight was brutal, with both men pushing their limits. In the end, the jungle exacted its own justice. The leader, unable to outrun the wild dogs, fell to their ferocity. His screams echoed through the trees as John watched, his revenge complete. With the medicines in hand, John rushed back to his wife. The sight of their ruined home filled him with dread. The door was ajar, and she was nowhere to be found. Overwhelmed by despair, he sank to the ground, convinced she had perished. But then, a faint voice called his name. Turning, he saw his wife, alive but weak, emerging from the shadows. She had fought to survive, just as he had. Reunited, the two embraced, their ordeal finally over. They had lost much, but their love and resilience had carried them through the darkest of times. As the sun rose over the jungle, the couple stood together, ready to rebuild their lives. The story ends with a sense of hope, a testament to the unyielding human spirit. So friends, that's all for today's video. See you in the next video. Subscribe for more videos like this and turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.